Hi folks, Hassan Ahmed here on the HMA Law Firm channel. Thanks so much for tuning in. We get this question a lot too about investors, people that want to come to the United States, invest in a new business, start up a new business, or they want to invest in an existing one, and they want to know what their options are, how to work for it, and what kind of visa they can get for it. And a lot of people use this term business visa, right? As was stated in the question. That's the first thing that I want to kind of talk about. There's actually no such thing as a business visa, because there are different types of businesses and different purposes for businessmen coming into the United States. And the visa names and options that people have are going to be tied to that. If somebody is coming here, they want to come here for business purposes, but they're not coming here to work. They're coming for a conference. They're coming to scout out a location for a future business opportunity. They're coming to oversee US operations, but they're still primarily employed by their overseas company and remaining and live overseas. That's a business visa known as a B1, and it's usually given in conjunction with a B2, which is a tourist or visitor visa, but it does not allow one to work, and you can usually only stay for 6 months at a time, but it still technically is a quote-unquote business visa. What most people mean when they're trying to start up something is some kind of investor visa, and there's two main types of investor visas. One is the E2, which is a non-immigrant, that is a temporary visa, which is good, or status is good for 2 years. It can be renewed for the rest of your life as long as the E2 is, as long as the business remains running. And one of the other limitations is that you have to show that you are a member of a country, that you're a national of a country with which the United States has signed a treaty with. Not every country in the world is going to be eligible for an E2, and the two biggest notable exceptions are the People's Republic of China and the Republic of India. Many other countries are on the list, and people can come and invest certain amounts of money and start businesses. It's important to understand E2, even if it's approved, is not a green card. And it's not a green card. It's never going to lead to citizenship, not by itself anyway, not without some other parallel process, but it can be a way to come into the United States and essentially enjoy all the other rights and privileges. Your spouse, if you're on an E2, your spouse will get a work permit, unrestricted work permit. You'll get a social security number and be a resident in all other ways, shapes, and forms, except for not having a path towards a green card. So we can talk a little bit more about the requirements for an E2 later on. I just wanted to mention briefly the EB5 program, and this is what people mostly think about when they think of the investor visa, is, hey, let me invest a whole bunch of money and create some jobs, and I should get a green card out of it. And I agree, you should. And unfortunately, the EB5 program has gone through a lot of challenges. First of all, the amount used to be $1 million. It used to be called $1 million visa because you invest $1 million. That amount has now gone up to 1.8 million. You can invest half of that, or 900,000, for again, this is for investments made on or after November of 2019. You can invest 900,000. And if you locate your business in an area that is determined to be an area of higher than normal unemployment, and there's certain formulas for figuring out whether or not you're in this sort of targeted employment area, or TEA zone, for determining whether it qualifies. But if you're able to go through this process, invest the 900,000 or 1.8 million. Then at the end of this process, you'll get a 2-year green card, which if you can then show that you did what you said you were going to do in the business plan, get the 2-year green card converted to a 10-year green card. So those two options, the E2 and the EB5, are usually what people mean when they talk about starting a business, but there are some other options depending on the history of where you're coming from, whether you served as in a managerial role or executive role in a company overseas that now wants to open a business in the United States, or a branch or a subsidiary or affiliate in the United States, they can open up an L1A new office visa, utilize an L1A new office visa to open a branch in the United States, and then send you to come in on an L1A. And it's an L1 is an intra-company transfer. So it becomes an intra-company once the new branch is opened in the United States. And then while that's only good for 1 year, it can be extended to the normal extension of an L1A, which is 7 years. And then if you can show that you were an executive in your overseas company, and you can show that you are an executive in the new US-based branch, hey, now all of a sudden you're a multinational executive, and that is a category that allows you to file for a green card. So I also should also mention entrepreneurial parole, which allows sort of the startup parole program issued by the Biden administration. Don't have a whole lot of details on it because it's relatively new. But the point is that there are different options for people who want to invest in the United States. They're not always the easiest or straightforward as you might think, but the options do exist. And so it's important to understand where it is you're coming from and what your particular history is, because that's going to determine what the best option for investment in the United States is. Thanks for tuning in.